This is Renee Collins.
And Warren Cobb.
And welcome to Overtones. Welcome, everyone. You are listening to the 52nd broadcast of Overtones on WLXU 93.9 FM, Lexington Community Radio. We are coming to you from the beautiful and historic Lyric Theater in the great city of Lexington, Kentucky. We have just listened to the sounds of Pikeville, Kentucky's Back in the Starlight Review's original song, Kentucky. And that is our theme song. And Warren, the theme today is Singing Between the Lines. And Back in the Starlight Review are just an example of what seems like a bumper crop of amazing musicians calling Kentucky their home and who do this songwriting thing so incredibly well with their original music, thus giving us more opportunities to listen locally than ever before. And today's show is no exception with the songwriters who will be joining us today.
In essence, these kind of happenings are exactly why we have gathered you all here today, to contribute to and listen to this rich, vibrant musical explosion of talent that is happening right now in the great state of Kentucky.
How excited are we both today about this outstanding lineup for this special edition of Overtones, appropriately titled Singing Between the Lines, Spur of the Moment Inspiration. The songwriting topic today reflects these words from a site on Facebook that I like called Ditto. There's nothing worse as a songwriter than coming up with an amazing melody or riff only to completely forget what it was hours later. Forgetting your ideas can be really frustrating, so it's important to make note of your idea while it's fresh in your mind, even if it's recorded quickly on your phone or scribbled on a scrap of paper. You will be glad of the reminder later when you return to continue working on the song. And the celebrity quote we will ponder today is this. It's from Connor Oberst, who said, "You can't manufacture inspiration, so a lot of it is still a waiting game for me. There is still a lot of mystery to songwriting, and I don't have a method that I can go back to. They either come or they don't." So, Warren, let me first ask you for what are your thoughts on this quote?
Well, I tend to agree. I mean, the songs that I've written either come or they don't. I have a hard time manufacturing a song out of an idea or, a line or a scenario. It's much more difficult to me to craft a song that way than if I've just been thinking about something that I want to create, and all of a sudden here comes a melody, or here comes a chorus, or here comes a verse, and sometimes they come together, and some people are totally different. Paul Simon would write every day like a poet. He would sit and write for a certain amount of time, regardless of what he came up with, and I've just never been able to do that.
Have you ever had a moment where you have regretted not writing something down and you couldn't recall it later?
I've even had times where I have written things down and lost what I wrote down and regretted it. Yeah, that it does happen. So, yeah, I would advise everybody to guard those closely. What you've written down and compiled as potential ideas. Yeah.
So Warren and I are welcoming guests today who have a broad range of musical artistry and significant contribution to the local music scene here in Lexington and beyond. And we are going to hear them sing some of the songs that they sing and share some of the stories they are telling to this community. And today we are honoring the skill of the inspirational spur-of-the-moment songwriting with some very special guests. So without further ado, here is your Kentucky Overtones starting lineup. From Louisiana, but now Nashville, Tennessee, we have recording artist, 5-time Grammy nominee Hunter Hayes via phone. Hunter will be performing at Lexington's Manchester Music Hall on May 31st. Let's welcome Hunter Hayes to the show, everyone. From Mount Sterling, Kentucky, we have Anna Klein and John Looney. That's Grits and Soul. Let's welcome them to the show. From Winchester, Kentucky, we have Lark Watts. Let's give it up for Lark Watts, everyone. And originally from Greenup, Kentucky, and now he's from Lexington, Kentucky, and he will be calling Nashville his home soon. Nashville recording artist Kyle Fields. How about a round of applause for Kyle Fields, everyone?
And this is where we are going to start this all off today with a musical offering from Kyle Fields. Welcome to Lexington Community Radio, Kyle.
Kyle, this is your first appearance on Overtones, but you are no stranger to the Kentucky music scene. 2 questions to start. How are you doing, and what have you been doing lately?
I'm doing good today. Thank you all for having me. I've been grinding, playing a bunch of shows, and been going back and forth to Nashville to record my new album. So I'm been doing that and just going with the flow. I'm moving back to Nashville in next month, but I'm still going to be around quite a bit, so I'll be up at least once or twice a month, hopefully playing around here. So
we found that you were neighbors, right? We're neighbors.
Yep.
And we did not know that. Line. Yes, that too. Let me ask you, we're going to talk with you more later in the show, but what do you have for our listening audience today to enjoy in the opening ceremony of Overtones episode 52, Singing Between the Lines, the spur of moment inspiration?
I think the first song I'm going to do is it's my latest single. It came out March 15th. It's on iTunes and Spotify and all that stuff. It's called Big Memories. I'll start with that one, I guess.
Okay, and can you tell me, is this one of your songs that came from a spur of the moment inspiration?
Yeah, kinda. I was back home in Greenup, Kentucky, where I'm from, and I was driving, and Warren was talking about if you got an idea or something and you can't write it down. Luckily, I always get the phone with me whenever I'm driving. I'll hit the voice memos thing if I got an idea or something. But I was just I hadn't been home in a little bit. And we were going out the road there that I come in on Route 1, and there was a cross. A guy I went to high school with, he died, and just started thinking back on that. And then, driving around the town, it's like, man, I got a lot of memories here, and I haven't been here in a while. So that's kind of how that one came about, I guess.
Okay, so here is Kyle Fields with his first song on Overtones today.
Used to burn my tires up down Whetstone Road. 17-year-old hell trying to beat the curfew home. I had to tell a few white lies to my parents. Looking back now, still to this day, I don't regret. Yeah, I reminisce here, good and bad, best and worst times I ever had. Play out like an old movie scene. This place will always be a part of me. Yeah, this small town sure left some big memories. Brittany Joe was the first love I was in, but after
school, she took off for Houston. I ain't seen her again. But I still think about them green eyes and heavenly smile, and wonder why that it ain't me this May walking her down the aisle. Yeah, I reminisce here, good and bad, best and worst times I ever had. Play out like an old movie scene. This place will always be a part of me. Yeah, this small town sure left some big memories. There's a cross over on the side of the road. December '07, we said goodbye to Devon Rose. Sometimes I'll selfishly ask Jesus why. Still can't find all the answers. I just think of him and smile. Yeah, I reminisce here, the good and the bad, best and the worst times I ever had. They play out like an old movie scene. This place will always be a part of me. Yeah, this small town, yeah, this little small town, yeah, this little small town sure left some big memories. Yeah, some big memories.
Wow, thank you so much, Kyle. We are going to hear more from Kyle later in the show, but for now, stick around as we will be back with Nashville country music artist Hunter Hayes coming up next after the break.
Hashtag no filter. Said a lot of stuff that I don't remember. Lord knows I'm guilty of a lot of sins that I don't want to live with. Another almost perfect, didn't work, but totally worth it. Better to have loved and lost my mind than lose the nerve to even try. Another conversation, awkward, but the ice is breaking. I've been in relationships, but I remain an optimist. It's not a game I'm playing, it's not a thrill I'm chasing, more like a space I'm saving, and I don't even know your name. But if it gets me to you, then it ain't wasted time. With every soul close, I'm closer to the rest of my life. Another bad first date, another nothing left to say. What I mean is, the way I see it, I'm one heartbreak closer to you. Hey baby, can I call you baby? Is that okay? I don't even know you, but I can't wait to know you someday. Imagine someday, when we look back, I'll thank my past for giving me my future better half. I'm sorry for the time it's taken, but I'm gonna make it worth the waiting. And all the strong love that I learned from was just practice for the right one. If it gets me to you, then it ain't wasted time. With every soul close, I'm closer to the rest of my life. Another just got played, a shot of bourbon for the pain. What I mean is, the way I see it, I'm one heartbreak closer to you. someone I haven't met yet, someone I haven't kissed yet. But I'll go through it all if it gets me to you, then it ain't wasted time. With every soul close, I'm closer to the rest of my life. Another sad goodbye, another sleepless night. What I mean is the way I see it, I'm one heartbreak closer to you. One heartbreak closer to you. One heartbreak closer to you.
Hi, welcome back to Overtones, hosted by Renee Collins and Whitney Akey on WLXU 93.9 FM. You've just heard the song Heartbreak, performed by 5-time Grammy-nominated Hunter Hayes, who will be performing in Lexington on May 31st at Manchester Music Hall, and Lexington is really excited about his arrival. We are so excited to have Hunter via phone in the studio today. And Hunter Hayes, welcome to Overtones on Lexington Community Radio.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. How's life treating you guys?
Life is treating us great, and we're so glad to talk to you. You are a multi-platinum selling recording artist that just released Heartbreak, and I believe this is your first official single in 3 years, which was the number 3 most added song at country radio up on Impact. And I've seen your wonderful video. Will you tell us about this song, and why do you think it has had the appeal that it has had for many country music radio fans?
Well, I mean, for me, the song was, this album is not the same kind of album that I've made before. As I didn't feel like it was supposed to be. I did a lot of soul searching to get the songs on this album and worked for years on it. And honestly, even went so far as to scrap everything that I'd worked on at the beginning of 2018 and start over. And at that point, I realized what was important and what I was supposed to be, what I was meant to be writing about, not what I, thought I was supposed to be writing about, where they were two very different things.
Yes.
And, really decided to put my heart and soul into to more topics and talk about more things. And at that point, I realized that there probably wasn't going to be a love song on the album, just because that's not the theme. It's very much about personal self growth and the journey to find oneself, or whatever you want to call it. And well, it's about a lot of things, honestly.
I'm so appreciative of that theme. We discuss that a lot here on Lexington Community Radio, especially with Overtones, and the self-growth process that happens when you're actually engaging in the writing of a song.
Yeah, well, so the one thing that I was really looking forward to was, with that was a big deal for me. My future better half, that future partner, at that time was something I really wanted to write about, even though I had no idea, who she was, anything about her. The thought of going through everything to get to someone was definitely sort of front of my mind, and I just started journaling about it and started talking about it, and when I walked into Gordy Toggs and Simon, they had this really awesome acoustic riff already kind of tracked and working on this really cool track, and it had a lot of energy, and it just felt very upbeat and optimistic, and I shared my strong desire to write a song to this mystery person, and luckily they were totally into it, and I started sharing kind of these journal entries and my thoughts, and the song came together rather quickly, and I think that's a sign that the song was meant to be written. We didn't have to force it, we didn't work, we didn't have to go searching, great distances to find it. I think we all knew that feeling, whether we had been there before or like me, were there, are there now, and yeah, it just felt like the song was an optimistic way of looking at things you've been through and knowing that they're all for a good reason,
Yes, definitely. And Hunter, you are a Louisiana native, and you've also accumulated over 45 award nominations and wins, and you've achieved over 1 billion on-demand career streams globally and 3 #1 singles, including your 5-time multi-platinum crossover single, Wanted. Let me ask you, how long have you been recording and also touring?
That's a great question. I have no idea. I mean, officially touring on a major label, I guess, since I was 16. Well, no, that'd be 18. Since I was 18, so almost 10 years now. Under the on the Atlantic recording artist chapter, I guess that'd be close to 10 years, yeah.
Wow. Can you tell us a little bit about your musical background growing up, and was music a part of your family?
It wasn't. No one really in my family is musical, so it's funny to me to try to explain because I found it super young. I was my grandmother gave me a toy accordion when I was 2 because that's normal, and she just kind of gave me the keys to what I feel like is a whole new world when she did that, because it started with accordion, but then it was a drum kit for Christmas, then it was a guitar, then it was a piano at some point, and it never stopped. And I was really, really immersed into this world where I felt like I could express and create and come to life, in a lot of ways. And it still is that world for me. And I feel like the way I try to explain it to everybody is like I didn't grow up thinking that it was going to be a career. I just didn't know the difference. I just knew that music was where I was supposed to be regardless, and and just believed that's my purpose, and still do. And I try not to think about it too much as a career. I try to continue thinking about it as the art that I'm meant to make, and stay true to that. And I think the moments that I've managed to do that and stay that true to it, I've made the things that I'm most proud of,
Oh, absolutely. And I am the host of Red Barn Radio, which is also here in Lexington, Kentucky. And the reason I ask you that question is because we always find out that it usually starts out with a toy instrument that possibly a grandparent or a parent gave our artist. And I just honestly think that's just a great part of your musical story.
I'm going to say, I think if there's anything that I've worked the most on in the last couple of years, it's been returning to what I call kid self, because there's no better place than like creating and or being on stage, and that's when I feel like a kid again. And I think that's part of the story. It's part of the conversation are those passions, those things that we that bring us back to our youth and that innocent sort of love for something like music,
Well, you were speaking our language here definitely on Overtones, and we ask all of our artists on this radio show a couple of questions, and I was wondering if you might like to contribute to our collection of answers. And I don't know how much you know about Lexington, but we have a very rich and vibrant musical scene here filled with some amazing singer-songwriters and also the greatest fans in the world. What do you hope that the listening audience takes away from the experience of hearing Hunter Hayes music or seeing you in concert?
From the music, I'll start with the concert because I feel like that's where my head's at now. We've been working on that for a year, and now we're finally on the road. I'm literally watching, sitting in the back of the bus as I'm talking to you, watching them load in for another show, and this is where the music comes to life. This is where everything we've worked on, everything I've worked on, everything that I've scratched, everything that I've started over on, everything that I've poured my soul into, this is where it makes sense, because when people come to this show, I don't know what they're expecting, and I don't want really for them to expect anything. Ideally, I want them to come in with an open mind, but I do hope that if anybody walks in with baggage, I hope they leave weightless, and I do want the music to encourage people to be fully themselves, to feel like they can walk out with no baggage, with no expectations. They can walk out knowing that they are perfectly good as is, and they are extremely unique individuals, meant to be those unique individuals. And because I believe in that message, and I wish I heard that more often. But hopefully, it's a get away from the expectations of comparing yourself to everyone in social media land and all that stuff. This is a chance to look in the, hopefully, for all of us to look at ourselves and say, wait a minute, I'm meant to be exactly who I am. And yeah, it's just the feeling of weightlessness. I share that with my team as much as I can, because I feel like that's our purpose here on this tour.
That's kind of like the ball that you have your eye on, right? And the goal. And I will just say there is, I think, a movement and a wave of the spirit of being genuine and being authentic and living our authentic lives, not only when we're at work or we're at home, but just being the genuine self that we are 24 hours a day. So I think that's a great goal. Lexington is going to get to enjoy your music live in concert at Manchester Music Hall on May 31st. How has the tour gone for you so far, and have you had any favorite moments or memories at this point in the tour?
This tour has by far been my favorite tour we've ever worked on. I'm proud of this show. I think this is without saying best, because I don't believe that that's the kind of word that I want to use, but it's definitely my favorite. I think I finally get to tell a story. I get to cover a lot of ground. There's several albums worth of work that I get to cover now, but most importantly, I'm approaching this tour not as, not thinking necessarily like, not starting with, singles from the past. We're starting very much as like a new artist, because I feel that way. I feel like I'm new. I feel like this is kind of a reset for me, and it's a beautiful time for me to play a bunch of stuff that people haven't even heard, stuff that's not even out, and I feel like that's the best way for the audience to get to know me very quickly, is to hear this new music. And quite simply, this is the most fun I've ever had on stage. By far. I mean, and that's hard for even me to say, because I think back at all the, awesome arena tours and all these things that we've done in the past, but this is by far the most, just the most fun I've ever had. And it's flying by all too quickly, but we're all having a blast, and I think everybody feels the fire.
Well, we are so excited about that. Have you been to Lexington before?
I have, yeah, and that's not a crazy question at all. But we have we've had some awesome experiences there, in and around the area. We've played all over Kentucky, and we've had some great shows. And but it's been far too long, so I'm excited to be back.
What do you have for us next as we start to sadly close this segment of Overtones today?
Something that I'm both proud and somewhat embarrassed of.
Okay, I love it.
I started when I told you, I scratched everything at the beginning of 2018. One of the things I started doing again, which I hadn't done in a while because of insecurities, was writing by myself. My publisher encouraged me to do it. I got signed to my publishing deal because of a song that I wrote by myself, and I hadn't written by myself in probably 5-6 years. I've been co-writing, and which I love that process, but I also wanted to get back to me again. And and this was one day that I was supposed to write with a friend of mine that couldn't make it because of snow, and I knew that I had a responsibility to myself to dive back into creating solo and saying what I needed to say. And so the first thing that came to my mind was a song that I had wanted to write called One Shot at a Time, and the title came from me sitting at the bar at my favorite cigar lounge that I go to, and it was a song written in about 15 to 20 minutes about the most embarrassing night of my life that I do not remember, all for the sake of saying, may we all be brave enough to share our experiences with the world and laugh about it,
Yes.
Hashtag no filter. Said a lot of stuff that I don't remember. Lord knows I'm guilty of a lot of sins that I don't want to live with. Mom would probably cut me off the family tree if she heard half the stories people telling me. Oh, there's proof. Insta's out there telling all my truth. I can't lie, so I own it. Been a rough week, so what I deserved it. Sorry to the Uber guy that took me home. It's kinda sad, but I'm kinda glad I'm waking up alone. I started with one shot to have a good time. Everybody knows how easy one can turn into five. But don't judge me, cause it ain't nobody's life but mine. And I only get one shot, so I take it one shot at a time. Yeah, take it one shot at a time. Hey, one shot at a time. Mess up, live and learn, repent and repeat, build a bridge then burn it. No shame, just secrets, got a lot of memories, not a lot of regrets. Every time I said I'd never do it again, was a rap before I headed out for one more spin. I started with one shot to have a good time. Everybody knows how easy one can turn into five. But don't judge me, cause it ain't nobody's life but mine. And I only get one shot, so I take it one shot at a time. Yeah, take it one shot at a time. Hey, one shot at a time. I think my fear of missing out makes me do the one thing I could do without. It starts with one shot to have a good time. Everybody knows how easy one can turn into five. But don't judge me, cause it ain't nobody's life but mine. And I only get one shot, so I take it one shot at
saw you as a presenter at the 2019 Academy of Country Music Awards, and we are so fortunate to have you visit Lexington on May 31st, giving our music fans a way to listen locally to such a global presence as Hunter Hayes. And Hunter, thank you again for being on the show and for doing what we call working in concert to bring Kentucky fans the very best this great state of Kentucky has to offer music fans across the state. And until you arrive in Lexington, have a great tour and safe travels.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it.
One shot at a time. One shot at a time.
Had a devil of a time shaking you loose. It's a hole we dug together. You ain't no saint, I've got no shame. Who's worse, it's hard to measure. Say 12 steps, but you're cold with the rest, but one is all I need. You go your way, I go mine. I think we'll both agree. Do what I ask and hand me that flask. I sure do like the flavor. Well, if I have to scale back, promise I'll do that. It's a fair and honest wager. I'm one of the converted, blessed in the highly favored. I'm changing my ways now and forever. That road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's time to celebrate my redemption. Land up above, heard my cry for help, and he granted me this favor. An angel unaware, just sitting right there, might be my next savior. Truth be told, I was taught a little better than what you see right now. Looking for trouble, anything subtle again, what the law allows. Do what I ask and hand me that flask. I sure do like the flavor. Well, if I have to scale back, promise I'll do that. It's a fair and honest wager. I'm one of the converted, blessed and highly favored. I'm trading my ways now and forever. That road to hell is paved with good intentions. It's time to celebrate my redemption. I'm one of the converted, blessed and highly favored. I'm changing my ways now and forever. Around hell is paved with good intentions. It's time to celebrate my redemption. It's time to celebrate my redemption.
We are back, and you've just heard the beautiful music of Anna Klein and John Looney, who make up one of our dynamic duos, Grits and Soul. Let's welcome first-timers Grits and Soul to the show, everyone.
So
Thank you for having us.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
thank you.
So Anna and John, what was the name of that song, and what was the story behind that?
Well, that song's called My Redemption, and really that song kind of came to me as I was walking to the car one night. We'd been in Louisville to see our friends Town Mountain play, And they were opening up for Tyler Childers, and we went over there and got to hang out with them a little bit. They're our buddies from Asheville. And it's like the first time I'd seen Tyler with a full band. You know, I absolutely love what he does solo. And so I was just like, oh man, I'm a believer. Like now that I've seen him in, you know, fully formed or whatever. And so, long story short, it's not going to be short.
That's okay. Keep going. Keep going.
So, John and Jesse Wells are absolutely infamous.
Yay.
Jesse Wells, yeah.
We
there
love
you go.
Jesse Wells.
Yeah.
But they're instrument fiends. They trade amps. They trade anything and everything
Guitars.
they can. Pedals, guitars,
Fiddles.
you name it. And
I can play
so
fiddle.
Jesse's got this like huge rig that he travels with, and there was this one huge amp. It was a Bad Cat amp that he's like, "Hey John, why don't you just take this home with you and see if you like it?" Because they'd been talking, you know, and John was really kind of interested in it. And so I was like, well, you know, I'll run to the car. I'll go get it. Because it was like, I don't know, 10 tons. It was so heavy. And so the walk to the car was a little longer than I remembered, like going back. And so the part of that chorus started coming to me, you know. And so then that was basically the story. I mean, there's no good punchline or anything. But.
Well, that's awesome. That's a great story. So let me just ask you, kind of building on that, because it sounds like it goes along with the theme of our show today. And so let me ask you, Anna and John, do you have moments of spur of the moment inspiration with your songs?
Yes.
And have you ever had a moment escape you and been unable to recall it or record it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
All the time.
You know, it's funny. I have dreamt songs and melodies sometimes, and then of course you wake up and it absolutely disintegrates. There's stuff too that, you know, like usually when I'm driving is when something kind of hits me and it drives me insane, because of course I'm like, you know, can't exactly get on my phone and do much, but I usually have like a voice recorder thing that I use.
Phones are pretty handy though.
They are, yeah.
I have fragments of all kinds of things on my phone that may never reach the light of day.
Yeah.
But some of them might, you know. It's like they're very handy to have around, because I will play something one night and I'm like, man, that was great. I'll never play that again.
But it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah, it's just spur of the moment stuff I might play over a song. I'm like, well, that's how that song should go.
Yeah.
But
he's great at
then the next
improv.
day I won't remember what that was, and then maybe 100 times later I might get it again.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
But that's what I like. I like it to be different every night a little bit. Try to work in a framework, you know. Yeah. Hopefully not get outside of the framework.
Well, you both are so talented. Let me ask you, the next song that you're going to sing, is this a spur of the moment type of song for you all?
No, this actually wasn't. Okay. I wrote this song for a friend of mine, and she's from Paris, France, and I met her when I was living in Mississippi. That's where I'm from. And I was in Indianola. I worked for Mississippi Tourism, and so I was going to meet a European press group there in Indianola at Club Ebony, B.B. King's old club. And so I met them for lunch, and then she and I just kind of struck up a conversation as we were walking through town and started talking about Lucinda Williams and all this stuff. And then fast forward 10 years later, and we're still, you know, really close friends. And she had written some poetry, because she writes all about blues and everything. She's a wonderful photographer too. And she said, can I send you some poetry? I'd really like for you to write a song from this. And so she gave me a little artistic license, because, you know, in translation, there's a little bit, you know, that's kind of lost and a little awkward. Mm-hmm. But so that's kind of where that song came from, with her in mind, and some of the poetry that she'd written.
So what's the name of the song we're going to get to hear?
It's called Bees Blues.
Here are Grits and Soul singing Bees Blues.
Standing, mama standing, with a mighty heavy load. Oh, standing, mama standing, at what you might call a crossroad. one to carry my burden. Set me alone. Down on my knees, I beg God, please, for the strength to rise on up. I follow no man's path but my own. I follow no man's path but my own. The sky above, she is my mother. The road ahead, my sister and my brother. Oh, I follow no man's path but my own. I follow no man's path but my own. I follow no man's path but my own. The sky above, she is my mother. The road ahead, my sister and my brother. I follow no man's path but my own. I follow no man's path but my own.
So, John, not too long ago, we had you on the Red Barn stage playing with John R. Miller.
Mm-hmm.
What is it like to play in his band, and what other projects are you all involved in?
It's a good question. It's ever changing with me. I will take almost any gig.
Almost.
We've had that theme a couple of times on
Well,
Overtones,
but
right,
John
Wayne?
R. Playing with John R. is my favorite, probably. His songs are, well, for one, they're like right up my alley. Plus, I get to play guitar, electric guitar, and mandolin in that band, which is also my two kind of favorite things. I play a lot of acoustic guitar too, but John R.'s tunes are so familiar sounding. They're like
Well crafted.
yeah, and they're like, oh, I've heard this before, but you haven't. It's something he just wrote, last year or something. But it sounds, he's got a great sensibility. For somebody called him the West Virginia Hemingway, so that was pretty good. But yeah, he's a fantastic songwriter and singer and guitar player. He plays guitar with a thumb pick, and
He's so
fantastic.
good.
I love playing with him.
Well, let me ask you, what do you hope your audience experiences after hearing you both perform as a duo?
Well, we like to say our musical interests are pretty varied, but the one thing that ties them together is probably just the idea of music from the South. So I grew up here in Kentucky and grew up around, well, I didn't grow up around bluegrass music. It was in the periphery, but it wasn't like, I didn't grow up in a musical family. But my family is originally from Southwest Virginia, down there around Ralph Stanley country. So the idea of the Ralph Stanley and the Stanley Brothers was always around there, and I'd heard it growing up. But and then but the first thing I got into was blues. I guess it'd be like recycled blues.
Yeah, we definitely connected over blues music. And see, me, I was born in Memphis and then raised in North Mississippi, and right in between the Mississippi Delta and Soulsville, USA. So I always say, we spread the gospel of Southern sound. Growing up in the Deep South, a lot of my influences, early influences were folk music and Celtic. Right. And then, I always had blues music. I didn't really grow up on bluegrass at all. I'm just 8 years in. But we met and really clicked and connected with that soul and blues vibe. And so that's something that I think is pervasive in the stuff that we do. And especially as soon as I sing, that's kind of what I hear all the time. But some of our other side projects that we've been doing, we've been playing in a square dance band with the local honeys, and so that's been a lot of fun. When we were in Asheville, we learned so many fiddle tunes and all that, and so they've been kind of teaching us some Kentucky fiddle tunes, and we've been playing a lot with them, and then also with songwriter Don Rogers, who is, who's such an incredible songwriter and great guy. So we are in
and then
his band.
John R's tunes kind of run that same trajectory. He has a lot of cool influences too, and you can hear kind of some Mississippi John Hurt in his guitar playing, but he's like Guy Clark and John Prine, and it all mixes together.
Yeah, all good
it's
things
all
are connected.
I'd say it's all the same language. There's different dialects of that language.
Well, we have been so happy to have you on Overtones, and we look forward to having you back. We have a series called Dynamic Duos Day, so we definitely have to have them back for that. What do you have for us for our third song?
The third song is one that I wrote after I talked to some relatives in Ireland. My great-grandfather moved to Memphis like in probably the late 1800s, and he was from this really small village in County Donegal, Ireland, and I had talked to a relative who'd sold off the family farm, and he moved to Australia to be with the rest of his family, and John and I were kind of, closing a chapter of our lives as well and kind of moving forward together, so that's where the inspiration for this song came.
Well, one more time, let's hear it for Grits and Soul.
Thank you.
Pull the curtains and I'll latch the door. The fields of home will see them no more. Here lies a life 3 centuries old. I've been back but twice in the last 23. There's so much of this old world to see. Goodbye, my love. Rest in peace, my lord. Goodbye, my love. Rest in peace, my lord.
Thank you so much for being with us, Anna and John. That's Grits and Soul, and we will be back with more music from our artists in the studio, including the music of Winchester, Kentucky's Lark Watts. Coming up next on WLXU 93.9 FM, Lexington Community Radio.
I've written songs about heartaches, spent my life singing the blues. Thought I knew love, what pain was, just what it felt like to lose. But what I thought was pain was a soft, gentle rain compared to what you put me through. I didn't know how much this poor heart could take, just loving a woman like you. I found out, no doubt, I know it now. I know it now, girl, I found out. There's no doubt, I know it now. Now I broke a few hearts in my time, ran when I should have stayed. But between you and me, girl, I believed. Then you took your love away. You showed me pain is a runaway train. You tied me down, cut me in two. I didn't know if I could even survive losing a woman like you. I found out, no doubt, I know it now. I know it now, girl, I found out, no doubt, I know it now. I know love is a four-letter word, like pain, lies, and gone. The more that I see, the less I believe anyone could ever hold on. Lord, I pray I'm wrong. So somewhere in time, if you change your mind and you want to love me again, you want to see if you and me can forget, somehow forgive. You need to know my heart let you go. It couldn't hold on in the shape it was in. No, no, no doubt. I figured you out. You know it now. You know it now. Girl, I found out. There's no doubt. I've written songs about heartaches. Spend my life singing the blues. Spur of the moment right there.
Thank you very much. We are back, and you just heard singer-songwriter Winchester, Kentucky's Lark Watts. Let's give Lark a big, warm Overtones welcome. Hi, Lark.
How you doing, man?
What was the name of that song, and what's the story behind that first song you just did?
That song is called "I Know It Now." It's interesting that y'all were having a talk about spur of the moment. I went in to record my little EP at Shangri-La Studios in Lexington with Dwayne Lundy producing, and we were in the mixing stage. And I was talking to an old buddy of mine I hadn't seen for years. Well, I probably hadn't seen him for a year. And he had heard the news that me and the girl I was with had broken up. And I guess this was 8 or 9 months after the fact. And he came out to see me play a show. And after the show, we were talking, and he said, "Man, you've written all these songs all these years about pain." He said, "It looks like to me you're still in a lot of pain over this relationship." And I said, "Yeah, man, I said, I thought I'd been in love before. I thought I'd felt pain before. But, buddy, I know it now." And the moment I said I know it now, I said, this is the song. I've got to write it. And so I was just quitting playing. So it was 1 o'clock in the morning. So by the time 6 a.m. rolled around, I had the song finished. And I called the producer the next day, and I said, "Hold up on mixing. The pedal steel player's leaving in 2 weeks. I got to get this song on the EP. It's going to tie the whole record together." And he said, "Are you crazy? We got to hire all these musicians to come in for one day. It's going to cost you a fortune just to do this." And I was like, "I don't care. This song has to be recorded." But it was a spur of the moment thing, talking to a friend, and I said the words, "I know it now," and that was the song. And it had to be on my recording. So.
Well, when you have performed at our Listen Locally open mic, you usually inform the audience that you are writing from inspiration and experience on almost all your songs. How does this make you a better songwriter and a better performer?
Well, I don't know. I think if you actually, feel the pain you're writing about, a lot of really good artwork has come from a really crazy pain, just over the years for anybody. And I would like to think that I don't have to go through all the misery to actually write. And I've written songs where I haven't been brokenhearted before, about being brokenhearted. So I'd like to think that I can write, even if I'm not living it. But for the past couple of years, a lot of the things I've written have come from, my heart and real life. It's not always that way. I try to sit down and write almost every day of the week. I'm constantly writing. There's never a moment where I don't have a song I'm working on. It's just constant, and it never stops. And sometimes it'll drive me crazy. I'll start writing, and I'll go, "I just can't write today. I need to take a break from it." but for me, a lot of it does come from real life experience, and occasionally one will pop up. I was thinking about an idea for a song just a couple weeks ago, and I wrote a song that wasn't my experience, but it was from the experience of someone that lives in Eastern Kentucky, that the only way they can make a living is selling heroin. So when I sing that song live, I know people think I'm probably
Yeah, we've had this discussion as well, right?
yeah, I'm really not out there selling heroin, but I'm trying to write a song from that point of view. So you don't absolutely have to live it, but a lot of the times I have lived what I'm speaking about, I guess.
What do you have for us next?
Next, I'll tell you, this is the first song off my new EP, Shangri-La Sessions Part 1. It's the opening song. The entire CD is about, it's kind of a study in having a broken heart, I guess. And I met this girl, and within 3 or 4 days, I wrote the song Be Your Man, basically saying, whatever you got going on, it ends now because I am your man. And that was the first song I had written. And while I was with this particular girl, I wrote a lot of songs about us. But the second song on the CD then goes on to be the 2 days after I left, thinking I'd made a terrible mistake. And so the whole song kind of goes through the relationship. The first song, meeting. The second song, realizing that I've made a mistake by leaving. And then the CD ends with George Jones as He Stopped Loving Her Today. I did a cover of that. So, but Be Your Man, that's the second song I played.
Here we go. This is Lark Watts singing Be Your Man.
Baby, I'm coming home, turn the lights down low. I'm gonna be your man. Tell the other boys they gotta go. I'm gonna be your man. Put a lock on the door, let that dress hit the floor. I'm gonna be your man. We can take it nice and slow if you just need my hand to hold. I'm gonna be your man. I'm gonna be a sweet loving thing. Gonna love you the best I can. I'm gonna hold you in one place so you can't slip away. I'm gonna be your man. Yes, I am. Light a candle in the room, put on that Chanel perfume. I'm gonna be your man. Close the windows and the blinds. Girl, tonight you're mine. I'm gonna be your man. I'm gonna be your sweet lover. Gonna love you best I can. I'm gonna hold you in one place so you can't slip away. I'm gonna be your man. Yes, I am. You'll never be lonely again. You're my shotgun rider, my lover, my best friend. Let me be your man. Baby, I'm coming home, turn the lights down low. I'm gonna be your man. I'm gonna be your man. I'm gonna be your man. Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Lark, let me ask you one final question before we sadly say goodbye to you today. What do you hope your audience experiences as a result of listening to your music?
Well, I hope they get something. I hope they get something out of it, and it makes their day a little brighter, I guess. Even though some of the songs are a little depressing, I've always been uplifted by sad songs, and I don't know why that is, but I'll take a song on an album and listen to the one that's not the hit and go, oh my gosh, that's the one I like. That's the depressing one. And I hope people, I want them to get what I'm doing. I don't care if they pay me for the CD. Just come out and see me play, and hopefully I'll try to entertain you for a while.
So is this next one of your sad songs?
Well, yeah, this is the one that where I write all the time. I wake up in the middle of the night with ideas in my head, and this one is I haven't recorded it yet with the full band, but it's called Backroads and Whiskey, and I just woke up in the middle of the night with this Backroads and Whiskey, how much she's gonna miss me, tailgates, and that pretty girl. And I had the melody in my head, so I got up and I wrote it down. And then all Thanksgiving Day, my family's wondering where I'm at because I'm popping out, working in my notebook, trying to get this thing written. By the end of the Thanksgiving Day, I had the song written, and it's become one of my favorite songs. It's about a guy who is with this girl who absolutely loves country music. The relationship didn't work out, and he starts thinking, man, if she heard one of my country songs on the radio, she'd come back to me, which is just complete sadness in itself, you know. But I'm just really proud of that song. But it was like a gift from above. You know, I got the first part of the chorus, you know, just waking up with it. So
Wonderful. One last time, here is Lark Watts.
She loves country music, that's all there is to it. She danced on the barroom tables before. Her mama's a big Willie fan. Well, that didn't come out as planned. But country music, boys, that's what she's living for. I loved her, I lost her, flowers didn't work at all. I know it's crazy, but I thought maybe if I write her a country song, maybe something like Backroads and Whiskey, how much she's gonna miss me, tailgates, and that pretty girl riding shotgun right here with me, a part where everyone sings along, a line about mama and a Sunday morning, then I'll do my best to sing it like George Jones. She'll come back to me like she was never gone. Hell won't freeze over, I can't write a country song. Well, I guess I've lost my mind after all this time to believe one song could change my world. Oh, but brother, if you knew just what her love could do, you'd be writing, singing, busting down her door, singing something like Backroads and Whiskey, how much she's gonna miss me, tailgates, and that pretty girl riding shotgun right here with me, a part where everyone sings along, a line about mama and a Sunday morning, then I'll do my best to sing it like George Jones. She'll come back to me like she was never gone. But hell won't freeze over, I can't write a country song. You see, there's something about the way she laughs, something in her smile that just won't let my heart let go. So if a song is what she needs to get her back to me, just let it blast out on her radio, with everybody singing along. Maybe something like Backroads and Whiskey, how much she's gonna miss me, tailgates, and that pretty girl riding shotgun right here with me, a part where everyone sings along, a line about mama and a Sunday morning, then I'll do my best to sing it like George Jones. She'll come back to me like she was never gone. She'll come back to me when she hears the song. But hell won't freeze over, I'm a fool for holding on. She loves country music, but I can't write a country song. No, no, no. back roads and whiskey. She never missed me. No, no, no.
Thank you so much, Lark, for being on the show. Warren and I will be back with more music from our artists in the studio, including the music of Lexington, Kentucky's and Nashville recording artist Kyle Fields. Coming up next on WLXU 93.9 FM, Lexington Community Radio.
My roots are anchored solid. I never ever want to leave. There ain't no work around here for a man, and I got mouths to feed. There's a job up in Chicago, and I just can't say no. I'll always keep you in my heart. You'll always be my home. I'm leaving Pike County, leaving here tonight. I'll be missing you, darling, across that Illinois line. If I could stop this thing, oh, I'd stop her on the dime. But I'm leaving Pike County, leaving here tonight. Well, it shut down most coal mines, and the pills just moved on in. Seems like Washington don't care. No, they don't give a damn. Well, Mama, I ain't be home around Christmas time. No, I ain't for sure. Better get on down the line. I'm leaving Pike County, leaving here tonight. I'll be missing you, darling, across that Illinois line. If I could stop this thing, oh, I'd stop her on a dime. But I'm leaving Pike County, leaving here tonight. I'm leaving Pike County, leaving here tonight. I'll be missing you, darling, past that Route 23 sign. If I could stop this thing, oh, I'd stop her on a dime. But I'm leaving Pike County, it's killing me to leave here tonight.
We are back, and you are listening to WLXU 93.9 FM, Lexington Community Radio. And you've just heard the musicianship and artistry of Lexington, Kentucky's Kyle Fields, who is a native of Greenup County, Kentucky. And as Kyle is also making his first appearance on Overtones, he is what we call bookending the show, beginning and the ending of the show. So let's give Kyle a warm welcome back to the show at this point.
So, Kyle, what was the name of that song?
That one was Leaving Pike County. It's my great grandpa and my dad's side of the family's from Pike County. And I'm of course from Greenup, but he used to play old Gibson banjo, pre-war Gibson banjo, and he wrote songs. And he had he moved to Greenup when he was pretty young, but he had a song that was called "Going Back to Pike County." And I don't have no recordings or nothing like that of it, but I thought it'd be cool to maybe modernize, leaving Pike County. And I got a lot of friends down in that area, and just kind of how the song's pretty much about how there's no work down there. Unfortunately in Eastern Kentucky, where economy's not very good shape right now. So, but I wanted to write a song for somebody having to leave, their home to go somewhere else and find work, even though they don't want to.
Well, talk to us about your spur of the moment inspiration in songwriting.
It just depends, I guess. I don't really sit down and try to purposely write. I think I have to be somewhat inspired. I've done that before, but those are my least favorite songs I ever wrote. So I don't. The inspiration, I guess, could come really anywhere. When you're a songwriter, I think all y'all could back me up on this. You're always looking for like a line or a melody or something. Like even whenever I get in writing mode, I just go I'll go for like 3 weeks and just write 10 songs or something stupid. But I'll be seeing people and they'll say something to me, and I'm like, man, I want to put that in a song. You know what I mean? So.
And have you ever had a moment that escaped you, never to be found again? How do you deal with that when you lose that thought or lose that line or melody or hook or something?
Oh yeah, I've had that happen a bunch. It just, I think the easier ones are the best ones, I guess I should say. They come easier than the stuff. I think whenever I lose track and stuff, I'll come back and I might put it up for 2 months or something, then come back to it and re-dig it back out. But I think the easier songs are the ones that you sit down and literally like 25-30 minutes are basically done. But I've definitely got stuck a lot, and it's a bummer when it happens too.
Well, Kyle, we are so glad that you've taken the time out to be with us, and you are getting ready to move to Nashville.
Yeah.
So before we sadly say goodbye to you today on this show, what do you have to close the show with today?
This one was from my first album, the Hillbilly Poetry album. It's called Stories About Me.
And what's the background of this song?
It's just a traditional, like, driving country song. Basically, it's kind of like the introduction to the album, the first track on there, and it's just kind of telling my background a little bit and how I kind of write my own songs and stuff like that, and stories about me, basically. About me, I guess, is the sum up of it, where I come from and stuff.
Well, thank you for being with us today.
No, I appreciate y'all having me.
Here is Kyle Fields one last time on Overtones.
Great-granddaddy ran Pike County shine, made him $1 one quart at a time. Did what he did to survive, kept on rolling on down the line. Favorite meals were mama's supper. Daddy taught me how to be a hard worker. My sister read a Bible cover to cover. And me, well, I learned to sing. And these are stories about me and all the sting. You can take it or leave it. What you get is what you see. Stories about me, hillbilly poetry. And I sure hope y'all like these stories about me. So I took off to Tennessee to write my songs, chase my dreams. But when I got to town, can't believe what I seen. Bunch of pretty boys wearing skinny jeans. Yeah, I went in there to record, took a loan out of my 401. Still don't get no radio play, but at least I keep it country. And these are stories about me and all the sting. You can take it or leave it, what you get is what you see. Stories about me, hillbilly poetry. And I sure hope y'all like a story about me. I don't do this for money or fame. I do it to keep from going insane. There ain't nothing like being on stage, and I sure love these songs I play. 'Cause the story's about me and honesty. You can take it or leave it. What you get is what you see. Stories about me, hillbilly poetry. And I sure hope y'all like these stories about me. Yeah, I sure hope y'all like these stories about me.
This seems like a great place to end this edition of Overtones, episode number 52, appropriately titled Singing Between the Lines, Spur of the Moment Inspirations. And I would like to thank all of our guests, Hunter Hayes, Grits and Soul, Lark Watts, and Kyle Fields, and all of you in our audience for making a choice to listen locally today. As we close the show today, you are listening to Louisville, Kentucky's Mama Said String Band performing their instrumental original Moon Twins, and we are so thankful to them for this beautiful work of musical art that ends our show each and every week in such a powerful and inspirational way. Until next week, this is Renee Collins
And Warren Cobb.
working in concert each and every week to bring you the best this great state of Kentucky has to offer its music fans, reminding you that where words fail, music always speaks. Have a great week filled with music, family, friends, and a lot of love.
Listen locally.
Goodbye, everyone.